Now, I had to start this video by saying that I am rather a cowardly person. I have never peed through a fly because I am afraid of a pecker getting caught by a zipper. I dread flashing a vacuum toilet on an airplane, and I am never comfortable when some weirdo keeps staring at me past midnight. So when this whole thing happened, I was too afraid to tell anyone about it, because if I did, I feared that the aliens might get angry and kidnap everyone that I have told to cover up their existence. So I never told anyone about what happened, and by not doing so, I have paid a dear price in my life. But it just came to my mind that maybe, now that I have some YouTube audience, maybe I can finally share this story. Because then, the aliens would also have to abduct all of you who are watching this video if they want to cover up their existence. And at that point, if like few hundreds of us are being probed by an alien at the same time, I think it becomes this collective experience and might even become enjoyable for some. So here it begins. Now this story goes back to my old high school days. It was during one summer after I have just moved to a new school. I was a new kid, but I joined a school cross-country team, and this whole thing took place during a team camp in a backcountry couple hours away. So the day went by, and being tired from all the running, everyone fell asleep very quickly after the lights out. Except of course I couldn't, because that's what happens all the time. So there I was, in this vicious cycle of not being able to fall asleep, because I'm the only one still awake, which makes me feel unsafe and not be able to fall asleep, and so on and so forth. So it just went on for a few hours, and I was just watching a night sky through this tiny mesh portion of a tent. It was just all quiet, except for some back noises and occasional snoring. But all of a sudden, in about 5 seconds of a span, it all happened. First, I heard a massive sound, as if a plane was flying right over my head. And then I saw with my own eyes 4 perfectly rectangle-shaped white lights. To describe it better, a Windows 11 logo emerging from the ears. It was bright enough that I could even see it seeping through a non-mesh part of a tent. It just passed over my head and disappeared to the west. Now, needless to say, I was very terrified. My mind was racing trying to understand what I just saw. Was it a UFO? Or could it just be some kind of secret military plane? Or maybe it was a glimpse of Microsoft's global domination plan. At that point, there was no way I could fall asleep anymore. A few hours passed by, and I was still frozen in my sleeping bag. Now, in these situations, there's always some kind of notion that you want to look around yourself every once in a while to reassure that there is no immediate danger. So I looked around, and I found, on my side of a tent, a couple dots of green lights. And in my head, there was only one logical explanation to this. Because I have witnessed what I was not supposed to, aliens are here, and they are now pointing a weapon at me. And these green lights are the laser sights. At this point, I was just so scared. I had to do the only thing I could do. Wake up a guy sleeping next to me. Now I just met this guy for the first time like few hours ago. And because I was a new kid in school, I really didn't want to do it because that would leave a horrible first impression. But I had no choice. I didn't want to get abducted by an alien alone. So I woke him up in panic and pointed at these lights and asked, "Dude, just what is that thing?" And this guy got up a bit confused and slowly walks up to the end of the tent and flickers at the wall. and these green lights disappeared all at once. And he said, "Dude, it's just a light bag." Now, for the next 2 years of high school, we never talked about what happened at that night ever since. He might not even remember because he was barely awake at the time. But deep down, I know that he still remembers and thinks, "What the was that?" Now, of course, I had many opportunities before to explain that I only did it because I saw a real UFO beforehand. But there was always a fear that if I did, the aliens might abduct us both to cover up their existence, so I never could. But with this video, thanks to you all, I will know for sure if it's safe to talk about UFO encounters openly without being abducted. And at last, after all these years, I can finally explain that I was not afraid of a mere light bag. I was just afraid of a real UFO. Or otherwise, I will see you all at the alien probing chamber.